This Samsung Galaxy Tab S4 is in dire need of some repair. The glass is badly shattered from a drop, but otherwise the device is in a functional condition. I purchased it online in its current condition, and it comes bundled with Samsung's branded keyboard case. Having worked on some A-series Samsung tablets, I'm interested in seeing if these higher end models are also as straightforward to repair. It's time we open it up and replace its display. So it's over to the heat mat where I can soften the adhesive on the back of the device. For this repair, I'll be replacing the frame alongside the display. As they say, work smarter, not harder. So while you can replace just the screen directly from the front, I don't want to deal with all that glass shrapnel. I had enough of that with an Amazon Kindle I repaired in the past. The opening procedure is similar to most modern Samsung phones: heat, picks and prying. The only difference is the sheer size of this tablet. What's the first thing that catches your eye in this tablet? For me, it's the battery and the Phillips screws holding it in place. That means no fighting adhesive to get it free. Before we can proceed in getting any of the main components out, we first need to remove the midframe. It's secured with a lot of Phillips screws, thankfully all of which are the same size. The SD card and SIM combo tray will also need to be removed before I can begin prying the frame from the display. It's adhered to the glass, which I didn't realize at first, but it's only light adhesive and you can work it free with relative ease. Alternatively, you could put the device back onto the heat plate to try and soften the adhesive to make prying a little easier. Now that we have a full view of the internals, we can see it really does look like a big phone inside, though not much like Samsung's newest phone designs, but the Galaxy S4 or S5. I'll proceed by disconnecting all of the flex cables and antenna wires attaching to the motherboard. Then there is 2 Phillips screws before it can be lifted up and out of the tablet. This motherboard is packing Qualcomm's Snapdragon 835 processor, 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. With the motherboard out of the way, we need to remove the remainder of the smaller components such as the sensors, antennas, speakers and microphones. A lot of these components use a light amount of adhesive to secure them in place, so you need to pry carefully to ensure their cables or the PCB doesn't get damaged during the removal process. Adhesive on small fragile parts is never great, but having replaced the housing on an iPad Pro, I can say this adhesive is much more forgiving. The charge port is next, with its entire PCB held down with glue. This seems unnecessary considering the midframe has 7 screws securing it and the headphone jack in place. But nevertheless, some alcohol made easy work of that adhesive. Following that, the remaining 2 speakers can be removed, one of which has the vibration motor attached to it. The vibration motor is tiny in comparison to the tablet. A much larger one was really required, but at least it has one. The second last component to come out is the SIM card reader, which is again adhered to the frame. Once removed, it's time to get that battery out of place. That SIM card reader was the last of the adhesive, as this battery is only held in with Phillips head screws. With them removed, it simply lifts up and out of the tablet, revealing the 28.1 watt-hour battery. With that, we've fully disassembled the Galaxy Tab S4. With only 2 sizes of screws and a manageable amount of adhesive, it's a breeze when compared to many other tablets. As for the new display, I've purchased a new one with the frame attached. Buying a display this way is usually a few dollars more expensive, but it's totally worth it when it comes to completing the repair. Now all we need to do is swap all the parts across that we removed from our old screen assembly over to our new one. With the battery in, it's time for the speakers and charge port at the bottom of the device. Next is the side-facing microphone. Up at the top, there's some protective film over some new adhesive that I'll need to remove before installing the upper microphone, sensors, antenna board, and 2 speakers. With that, the SIM card tray is ready to be reattached before the motherboard can go back into place, routing it underneath the flex cables and antenna wires that will then need to be attached to it. Then there's 2 screws for the motherboard and 1 for the antenna. Before we get the mid-frame reattached, I'll need to remove any residual adhesive and glass that's been left behind from the old screen. It can then be pressed down into place and fastened with the several Phillips head screws around its perimeter. Once attached, the device is ready for a test. With the device and our new screen working perfectly, it's time to continue the reassembly. I'll need to remove all the old adhesive from the mid-frame and the rear cover before we apply any new glue. This will ensure it makes proper connection and the back will sit flush against the body of the device. The adhesive I'll be using for this is regular double-sided tape in 2 different sizes. This is done to ensure I can get as much coverage as the original did. Once the adhesive has been applied all around the perimeter, I can remove the plastic protective film and get the rear panel reattached to the tablet, firmly pressing it down into place once it's correctly aligned. The last thing left to do is remove the plastic protective film from our new display. And we're done. So this is it, a repaired Samsung Galaxy Tab S4, an easy but still costly repair. I did attempt to clean up the keyboard case, however the palm rest is made from horrible rubberized plastic that's already started to become sticky in just a few years. But despite the keyboard's flaws, the tablet itself is in perfect condition that will hopefully live on for many more years in the hands of its next owner. And on that note, this has been a Hugh Jeffries video. If you like what you saw, consider subscribing and check out the tablet playlist for more videos just like this one. And if you're looking for any used devices, be sure to check out my online store, link for which is down in the description. That's all for this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.